Freaky Fast Frankie Joe by Lutricia Clifton. Saturday, September 19th, the Lone Star Trailer Park, Laredo, Texas, 10 a.m. I don't like the way some of our neighbors look at me when I walk past. Mom calls them meddling busybodies because they sit on the front porches and whisper all the time, just like they're doing now. Ooh, there's that boy, they're probably saying. You know, the one whose mother was in the newspaper. I sit down at the picnic table outside Mrs. Jones' trailer. Mr. O'Hare and Mr. Lopez are already there. They know about Mom, too. But they're my friends, so they don't say anything. They want my last day to be fun. Look what I made, Frankie Joe. Mrs. Jones brings out a cake, chocolate with rainbow frosting that spells out, hurry back home. I think Mr. Lopez must have had a hand in decorating it. He's a house painter, only he calls himself a house artist. He's a nut for wild colors. If he can't find a color he likes, he mixes his own. Sometimes he lets me help do the mixing. He says I have a good eye for color. He lets me help name them, too. And something to wash it down. Mr. O'Hare hands me a glass of punch. He smiles at me and his face folds up in wrinkles. His skin is brown as leather because he spends every day in the Chihuahua desert. When he was a mechanic in the Air Force, Mr. O'Hare traveled all over the world. That's why he doesn't have a family of his own, because he was always moving around. He told me once that I was the grandson he never had. I've learned all about the places he's been to. I take a big gulp of punch. Guava and strawberry, I think. Have another piece, Mrs. Jones insists. You have a long trip ahead of you. Strings of white hair stick to her forehead. Though it's September, it's 90 degrees in the shade. While I eat, they talk. We'll watch out for your trailer, Mr. Lopez says. He's not wearing his painter's cap, so his forehead is half white and half brown. Mr. O'Hare nods like a hawk. Maybe I'll paint the front steps while you're gone, Mr. Lopez says. They're in bad shape. Could get a splinter if you're not careful. Mom works split shifts at the cafe. Mornings some days, evenings others. She didn't make a lot of money, so there wasn't a lot left over to fix up our place. She didn't worry about it because she said we weren't going to be here much longer. This dump is just a stepping stone to something better, she said. I'll take care of the splinters, Mr. O'Hare says, looking at Mr. Lopez. I have just the tool for that. You take care of the painting. That'd be great, I say, glad to have such good friends. I know how you feel about writing, but let us hear from you now and then. Mrs. Jones puts another piece of cake on my plate. Maybe a Christmas card? I nod. Between chocolate cake and rainbow frosting and punch, I'm on a sugar high. I eat like it's my last meal. Mr. Lopez looks at his watch. Better open your presents now, Frankie Joe. Your dad's going to be here soon. Presents? But I never expected a party and presents. Well, not real presents, Mrs. Jones says. They're more like mementos. A retired librarian, Mrs. Jones, is a real stickler for words. I started staying with her after school when I was younger, and she read to me a lot. Adventure books were my favorite. She won't allow a TV in her trailer because she thinks it's a bad influence. Her bookshelves are running over because the new librarian gives her retired books. Her son and his family live in England, so she doesn't get to see them much. She would invite me over to stay on nights when Mom worked late or went out with her friends. She hands me a rectangle-shaped package wrapped in red tissue paper. The paper's probably recycled from Christmas, but it fits right in with the rainbow cake and guava strawberry punch. I know it's a book before I open it. Kidnapped! My favorite book. It's about this guy who leaves home and gets kidnapped by thugs and has to escape. A lot of the words were hard for me, but Mrs. Jones helped me when I got stuck. It's great, I tell her. Just a reminder of all our good times, she says. Her eyes begin to look wet, but I don't say anything. I don't want to make her sadder. Open mine next. Mr. O'Hare hands me a brown paper bag. Another book. I can tell from the shape. But it's floppy, not stiff like the other one, so I know it's not a retired library book. Woohoo! It's one of Mr. O'Hare's field guides to rock collecting. This is great, too. When you get back, we'll find it, he tells me. We won't stop looking till we do. It is a space rock, a meteor that broke up when it fell out of the sky over the Chihuahua Desert. Mr. O'Hare looks for pieces of it every day, and I go with him when I can. Maybe you'll find some new kinds of rocks up there in Illinois, he says. You bring them back, we'll add them to our collection. Rocks are lined up clear around his trailer. Sandstone, granite, limestone, all kinds of rocks. Yeah, I'll look for some new ones. Mr. Lopez looks at his watch again and hands me a stiff piece of paper. I didn't wrap mine because it's colorful enough. I grin because he's right. It's a strip of paint samples showing some of his creations. Maybe you'll see some new colors on your trip, he says. You tell me about them when you get back to inspire me. Thanks, Mr. Lopez. I'll keep an eye out. He taps his watch, and I know it's time to leave. Well, I guess I gotta go. I thank them again for the party. My throat's so tight I can hardly speak. See you soon. I know it seems like a long time, Frankie Joe, Mr. O'Hare says, but the time will fly by. Mr. Lopez nods. Yeah, July will be here before you know it. Look upon it as an adventure. Mrs. Jones' eyes are running over now. Just pretend you're looking for treasure. Her eyes go round. Oh, dear, maybe I should have given you Treasure Island. Everyone laughs. Yeah, adventure, I say, laughing like I'm excited too. But as I take my mementos back to our trailer to pack in my suitcase, I don't feel excited. I feel sad and a little scared. I don't want to leave my friends and go live with my dad. What if he doesn't like me? What if I don't like him?